Welcome to News and Brews 2022. The last 2 years have gone by pretty fast. I'm really excited to be here. I've got some Gorilla Snacks. It's a hazy IPA. If you haven't had a beer yet here, you should. They do have wine as well and other non-alcoholic beverages. My name is Chris Ritchie. I'm a board member of REDI, and I'm excited to MC tonight. We have a good show lined up for you. This is probably a record-breaking attendance. I think we had 120 registrations. Boom. If you see Mary running around, say thank you, Mary. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. She does a lot of things for us. So thank you, Mary. There's a couple other people I want to say thank you that helped put this on. If you look around, you're going to see their banners. Express Employment Professionals, Summit Bank, one of our newest title sponsors, Sunwest Builders, and obviously we have a mayor title as well. Also, if you feel like you're in a speakeasy, thank you, Wild Ride, for your community support and allowing us to be here and for the wonderful beer. Let's get a nice cheers. It's good. Okay, so we're gonna get through this and make sure that you all have some time to get to know some of the folks that have some pretty good content queued up. Steve Curley, our director of REDI Express. We're gonna hear a little bit about how the interest rates are affecting lending from Summit and our very own Amber Wilson from Umpqua Bank. Okay. So, you all have a ticket. If you don't, make sure you get one. We're going to be giving away some pretty cool swag. There's probably beer. I think there's wine. A lot of fun things, okay? Very good. One of the first people I want to call out tonight, I just introduced, but Sunwest Builders. For over 30 years, Sunwest has become the builder of choice for commercial, residential projects in Central Oregon. REDI is grateful for their support to help build more than structures, but also build relationships. Really appreciate that. Thank you for your support. So it's hard to believe that we're here again because it felt like yesterday. I was up here kind of mumbling through. We had harder alcohol last time, but I like the beer. I get to introduce somebody who I've come to know and work with pretty closely, who I think is doing Redmond a great service. And it is our esteemed director, Mr. Steve Curley. Steve, come on up.
Well, good afternoon. Hello? There we go. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm a little taller here. It's great to see everyone out tonight. This is a fun event, and 120 people registered. Broke a record. That's awesome. It's so good to see so many faces, familiar faces here. And so I'm just going to take a couple minutes, and what I want to do is I've got a couple numbers I'm going to throw out. You probably will have no idea, but if you think you know what that number might represent, and John, you can't answer wherever you are. There he is in the back. Let me know. So, the number 7. You might have an idea. 7 days in a week. Yep, Commissioner DeBone got that correct. However, it is also the number of months that I have been the REDI director. So 7 months. And the activity has been very busy. Redmond is extremely active, both companies looking to relocate here, companies that are creating outposts here, companies that are here and expanding and growing. It's been really fun to see the activity and to be a part of that and help set the table and assist those companies. So the next number is 3. Anybody have an idea? 3? It's a magic number. It's kind of random. Yeah, it's Chuck's magic number back there. So 3 is the number of site visits we've had by companies in the last 3 months. Site visits don't happen too often, but we've had 3 site visits by 3 fantastic companies in the last month. Really cool. Okay. The next number is 130. Yeah, I figured nobody would really know what these numbers were. So we assist about 130 companies each year at REDI. So that's the volume that we do. Okay, 1.38%. Any realtors in the room? So 1.38% is the vacancy rate in Redmond for industrial buildings, extremely low. We don't have a lot of available space. And there are projects that are being worked on, both owner-occupied as well as spec buildings that are coming out of the ground that some of them are just coming online. And so we are working in that area to get more industrial space, but it's very low right now. Okay, next number, 3,999. That's the number of potential jobs in our active projects pipeline. Almost 4,000 jobs. It's huge. Okay, and one more number and I'll pass it on. 578,725,000. And that's the number of potential, that's the potential investment in the active projects pipeline. So over 500 million potential investment in Redmond, in our community, and just really appreciate all of you and all that you do to make this community so special. When companies come here, they know that Redmond is special, and and I get to talk about that, and it's really been a joy and a pleasure, and I'm very honored to be in this role. And so we got a great program tonight. Enjoy the evening. I'm going to pass it back to Chris. Thank you.
We got a couple minutes, about 5 minutes for questions. Any questions out there?
You put me on the spot.
I am putting you on the spot. No questions. Steve, how's 4,000 potential new jobs going to impact our economy here locally?
Well, it's interesting you asked that, Chris. So jobs don't, whoa, sorry, it's a hot mic. Jobs don't happen overnight. They happen over time. And you got to take the long view. Economies are cyclical, right? And right now, people are uncertain in certain areas. Interest rates are having an impact. Some of these jobs, if the economy continues to soften, we'll be really glad for these jobs, right? Or for these companies that are providing jobs, because everything is cyclical. So you're always building on every side all the time. So those jobs will mean a lot to the community over the next 5 to 10 years as those companies develop and build and provide those jobs.
What type of industries are looking at Redmond?
Do you really want me to tell you? Oops. So we have aviation companies, aviation manufacturers looking at Redmond. We have advanced manufacturing looking at Redmond. We have transportation companies looking at Redmond. We have expanding in the advanced manufacturing sector here, companies that are already here that are looking for more space, companies in what you would call them in the food manufacturing area. So those are some of the ones that I can call out. Nice. I got the thumbs up from John. That's a good deal. All right. Any other questions? We're good?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, man.
Steve, thank you. Appreciate you letting me put you on the spot there, too. For those of you that want more up-to-date information, make sure that you're on the director's list. We're going to start some new information that's going to be not inside information, but a little bit more timely, relevant information of what Steve and REDI are up to, because it's moving fast. 3 site visits in 3 months is phenomenal. So great work, Steve. Thanks for your leadership. Next, I'm pleased to introduce our title sponsor, Mr. Gary O'Connell with Summit Bank, Central Oregon's leader of local business banking services, here to tell us about Summit Bank and what they do for our community, Mr. Gary O'Connell.
Says we have 30 seconds. Is that right, Chris? 30? 29? All right. We're counting here. So we'll make this quick. First of all, just thank you for showing up. This turnout is amazing. I was going to actually Roger Lee speak tonight, but he's off to New Zealand consulting on a 10-day trip, actually in Auckland, with public officials to tell them how to diversify their economy like we've done here in Central Oregon. They picked Central Oregon out of any market in the country. So Roger's down doing that, but we're just grateful. We do have colleagues here tonight. Raise your hand. Marty Lunen's here, shortest guy in the room. Jordan Burcham and Matt Denise, I know, is here somewhere, and any other colleagues. Jill Cummings couldn't be here tonight, but I don't really need to introduce her. So anyway, we're just very grateful to support this, and that's way more than 30 seconds, so thank you.
We're going to keep you up here, Gary. Appreciate that. Next, we're going to call up Amber Wilson from Umpqua Bank Home Lending. Amber's a good friend, probably one of the more community-oriented persons I've seen and gotten to work with over my time here. So we're going to have a little bit of a Q&A time right now, because obviously with interest rates moving the market, what does that mean? You know, we're all kind of feeling that in different ways, but we have a couple questions here, and obviously if you all have questions, please shout it out. Okay? Good. So audience engagement is required. So, a couple questions to start us off. With interest rates moving the way they are, what are the concerns businesses and retail investors have about rates and buying?
So I've been doing this for 20 years, and I will tell you this is the most questions I've ever received as far as, one, do you think rates are going to go down? When do you think rates are going to go down? Do you think the market's crashing? They're concerned with buying a house right now and then having the values go down. You know, they've seen that before. And if this is a good time to buy. So those are the really in-depth conversations I'm having with customers right now, and those are their big concerns.
So we work in commercial lending primarily, and commercial refinance of real estate has typically been about a third of our business, and that's all but evaporated. I think we're making it up a little bit in market share, I think, but much the way that a rise in interest rates erodes your purchasing power for homes, we see that in business. If you're buying equipment or if you're expanding a facility, even your line of credit, those rates are going up, and that's eating into your margins, and it makes you think twice about the cost of capital and the kind of return you're going to get on that. That said, here's a perspective. I looked up the interest rates today, and October 26, 2007, 15 years ago, the curve is almost exactly the same as it is today. There are differences, and I'm not suggesting we're going into another Great Recession or sequel, but we were actually starting to curve down at that juncture back in 07 today. Today we're obviously going up. And I'm sure everybody reads the news, but it's pretty much a given that prime lending rate will be at 7.5 or 7.75 45 days from now, so that's something to factor in. But a common misconception is that doesn't necessarily impact long-term rates. They're starting to have discussions of longer rates coming down, so that's what we call an inverted yield curve when short-term rates are higher than long-term. So lots of impacts to have in terms of discussions we're having over what to borrow, when to borrow, how to borrow, given that. So
it's a good time to buy?
That's a loaded question. Well, they say you make money on the buy, so I think there's a lot of dry powder on the sidelines. We see reserves, we see savings going up, we see folks looking for an outlook of perhaps the next 12 to 18 months for a really good time to buy. I'll let Amber answer that on the residential side.
Thank you. I think it's a great time to buy. So historically, most people tend to buy their homes during the spring and summer. That's the busiest time of year. Winter is a great time to buy, regardless of what the rates are. You're going to see the house at its worst condition. Usually when you're buying in the summer, you're buying warm, you're seeing flowers, everything's in great condition. When you're buying in the wintertime, you see when it's not great, you can be in the house, feel the temperature in the different rooms, kind of see if there's breezy. So when people are asking me, you know, is this a good time to buy? Absolutely. There's less buyers in the market. The sellers know there's less buyers, so they're willing to make more deals on their homes to get rid of them. And the interest rates, they are what they are. I mean, everyone right now, we're talking to our customers and we're telling them, you're going to marry the house and date the rate. The rates are going to come back down at some point when they do refinance, but don't sit on the sidelines paying somebody else's rent while they're making equity in their home. It's a great time to buy.
Thank you both. Final question for me, are there any programs available for either the commercial or the residential buyer at this point?
Programs for financing. I'll speak to the commercial piece. It's not well known or publicized yet, but there's federal money coming in to the tune of $85 million. That'll be leveraged about 13 to 1 through, if you've heard of guarantee programs, through Business Oregon. I wear another hat and serve on the finance committee. It's a state agency, but that's levered at about $1.1 billion in capital. Purpose for capital to go out to businesses for banks to make those loans that when they otherwise could not be able to make those loans. So there is, and then SBA, of course, is a great vehicle, another way to guarantee a loan if it's a startup business, if repayments reliant on future projections not passed, or if it's a low down payment program. So not to mention the banks, what's different from 15 years ago, the banks are still flush with capital. There are concerns, but there's a lot of liquidity and a lot of reserves and still a lot of money to lend. From that perspective, I'm much more optimistic than that feeling we had at the end of '07 that we knew was coming.
So the banks have several different types of programs. We have down payment assistance programs, as do other lenders, banks, credit unions, mortgage brokers. One of the biggest things that I'm seeing now that I have not seen in years past is a lot of non-occupant co-borrowers with mom and dad trying to help kids buy the home, grandparents trying to help. We're seeing a lot of multi-generational where they're buying the home and then maybe the parents or grandparents are living in an ADU. So just some different types of unique financing going on to help people get into homes.
Great, thank you. Any other questions from the crowd? It's a lot of good information. When there's a will, there's a way, and we got some smart resources with people behind them to help. So let's hear it for Gary and Amber. Here she comes. Okay. How's everyone's beer? Good? Yeah. Awesome. Like it. I'm going to need a refill. Michael, help me out there. So before we get to our featured business tonight, Bridge Masters, we're going to hear from one of our title sponsors, Chris Petty, from Express Employment Professionals. Asked him to join and share a few words. Appreciate you re-upping your sponsorship, and thanks, Chris.
Of course. First off, just I said it last time, but great name, great first name. Really enjoy it. Chris Petty with Express Employment Professionals of Central Oregon. We were Central Oregon's first staffing agency, been around for over 35 years. We're full service, and so a lot of agencies kind of have specialty niches that they work on, maybe just industrial or just administrative. The nice thing about Express, we're your one-stop shop. So anything from your entry-level production worker, general labor. Then we also have a division called the Specialized Recruiting Group, which, if you know the name Karen Turner, she's over here, leads our Specialized Recruiting Group team, and they can fill just about any professional position you're looking for. We know that times are unprecedented right now, especially when it comes to hiring, wages, what that's going to mean for the future. And so even if you just want to talk to us about what we can do to support your business, even if it's just to chat and we don't make any money off it, I'm totally fine with that. Really thankful for REDI for having us as one of the title sponsors again this year. If anybody's looking for our banner, it's that gigantic one right there on the wall. So you can't miss it. But really glad to be over here at Wild Ride, and I hope everybody has a great evening.
Thank you, Chris. We are humming along. Okay. So next for our company spotlight, I'd like to introduce you to a kind of a local success story, but they're not new to Central Oregon, but they're relocating here to Redmond. Bridge Masters is a company who's revolutionizing the way maintenance and other jobs are done under bridges. Under bridges. The company services a variety of industry, including water, sewer, gas, electric, and telecom. They broke ground in Redmond this spring for a new 26,000 square foot facility. Checking on their website, they have a pretty wide footprint across all of US. And I think there was something about 30 jobs in Redmond. So I have the privilege to introduce the Bridgemaster's CEO, Jeremy Herauf, to tell us a little bit more about his company, why they chose to call Redmond home, as well as how REDI helped them with their move. Welcome, Jeremy.
Oh, these short people. Everybody can hear me okay in the back? Those paying attention? REDI, again, thank you for the opportunity to share our story. I'm going to just tell the story of Bridgemasters, and the theme is opportunity and taking advantage of the opportunities that were not only given to me, but to the company throughout its years. Let's see. Which one was it? There you go. Quick little company snapshot. We'll get to the good stuff here in a second. Okay. So I was only allotted like 15 minutes, but since we had a lot of fast talkers, I'm going to take up some of that. So as Chris had mentioned, Bridgemasters Incorporated is actually 3 companies. So there's 3 individual companies operated by Bridgemasters. And the core company is Bridgemasters Incorporated, the construction company, and we install, maintain, design, engineer, inspect utilities under bridges. Pretty much anything west of the Mississippi, we cover. Not a lot of people know that there are utilities under bridges. I guarantee you will not go underneath the bridge without looking up from here on out, because they're there. It has been pretty much since 1992, and I'm going to go through the story here, when the telecommunications industry really started coming up, and that's what gave us our first opportunity. Again, this is just a little snapshot of the work that we've done throughout the United States throughout the years. Our companies that we service are plentiful. Public-private utilities, bridge owners, public-private, general contractors, engineering firms, U.S. government, so the U.S. Army Corps, Forest Service, state DOTs, public works, railroads. So I'm going to see if I can click through here. Just give me a second. I got to start with the right picture, right? We're fast tracking. Have a drink of beer for a second. How it all got started. I'm going to start here. Necessity is the mother of invention. I can't talk about Bridgemasters today without mentioning its origins. In 1992, Ralph Langston, the inventor of the original bridge walker, needed to get across the McCullough Bridge in North Bend, Oregon to install fiber optics for GTE, which is now Verizon Communications. His access options were limited. He planned on renting a larger bridge access machine, but because of the size of the unit, he would have to shut down one lane of traffic and be limited to only 3 hours of work each day. He was determined to find another solution, so he turned to what he did best, which was equipment design, manufacturing, specifically man lifts, stringing booms, capstan winches for the telephone industry. He designed and engineered the first bridge walker. For the next 10 years, he and a small crew used the bridge walker to provide under-bridge access for future jobs. So what you're looking at on the left is an article of the original bridge walker, and on the right, you can see just how tight and constrained that traffic was. A lot of logging trucks, as you see. So that was his limitation, that was his problem, and that was the solution that he came up with. Moving on. Perseverance and a cool head. In 2002, my father, Alan, was looking to invest in another company after he had sold his truck brokering business in Portland. He was reading the classified section in the newspaper, and an ad caught his eye. It was Ralph's company, and with it came 3 bridge walkers. He was attracted to the uniqueness of the machines. He envisioned manufacturing the units and selling them. Soon after acquiring the company, he looked to cut operating costs and move the company to Bend. With only 5 customers on the books, he took to the streets and focused on getting more bridge work for the bridge walkers. The idea of manufacturing was put on the back burner. He spent nearly 5 years wearing all hats in the company. Any entrepreneurs knows what I'm talking about. With these 3 very niche machines, he turned the company around. It was not until he landed a large electrical job in San Diego, California, that he was feeling relief and proved once again that this little machine was capable of so much more. Then the recession hit. Losing some key contracts, he turned to selling some of the equipment to stay afloat, but not the bridge walkers. He continued to believe in the product and the service he had grown and knew there would be a light at the end of the tunnel. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. I joined the company in 2008. I went through the recession with my dad. I saw firsthand how to keep a vision and a business alive in dire times. I had also traveled all over the United States, installed utilities on bridges with Ralph's bridge walker. So if Ralph was the preparation, my dad was the opportunity, I guess I'm lucky. When I came to terms with my dad to buy the company in 2015, I had experienced the highs and the lows. I was confident as ever that I can continue what Ralph and my dad had started. Soon after the purchase, I had made a decision to scale the company. To do that, I needed machines. So I manufactured one of Ralph's bridge walkers in-house, mainly copying his original design. And I used that machine to test the marketability of the unit. It was a year-long rental in New York on the Verrazano Narrows Bridge that proved to me that this machine, the bridge walker, would be successful. The bridge walker has been successful all over North America, from New York to British Columbia, during the 2-year test period. With that knowledge in hand, I made a plan. Create one company, redesign and engineer the bridge walker, which is Titan Manufacturing. Create another company to rent the bridge units nationwide, to share the unit. That's Bridgemasters Rentals. And that brings us all here today. There we go. So 2 years ago, when it became evident that we had outgrown our current location, we had started the search for a new home. Redmond was always on our radar. Our new 26,000 square foot building will allow all 3 companies under one roof to expand and take advantage of opportunities that we are always preparing for. The building will primarily cater to manufacturing of the bridge walker machines and servicing the fleet of Bridgemasters Rentals. Since construction services are provided primarily out of state, the offices will house the executive staff and support staff. Strategically located, we have been utilizing the Crooked River Bridge, pedestrian bridge, for training and quality control purposes. This unique location, unlike any for our type of business, is not only that we have an iconic bridge, but we can service and maintain and inspect our larger under-bridge inspection machines without traffic control, just pedestrian control. As to not rely too heavily on the Crooked River Bridge, we have planned for a 30 by 60 bridge for day-to-day use on our property. To date, we have manufactured 16 bridge walkers. We have added other manufacturers of under-bridge units as well and provide the most diverse fleet of under-bridge units in the United States. We have added an East Coast location near Knoxville to service our East Coast clients. We are always and will be preparing for the opportunity. Thank you very much. I'm just going to go through a quick slides real quick, Chris. So what you guys are looking at, this is some quality control testing. These are designs, advances in the bridge walker unit that we use the Crooked River Bridge for. That is one of the bridge walker units that's called a Type 2, which is a fixed mount trailer unit. The original bridge walker, what I showed you first on the McCullough Bridge, now looks like that. Does anybody know what bridge that is? The London Bridge. You get a prize. Just call her name out during the raffle. She got it. So Lake Havasu. So that was our first Type 1 bridge walker unit that we'd finished last April, and it has been all over North America since then. It's currently in Manhattan, New York. It's been in Banff, Canada, which some of you might recognize that. And this little unit is, when I say opportunities, it is opening up plentiful opportunities, because not only is it doing work for bridges, but now the customers are finding new uses for this unit. Seawalls, levees, dams, retaining walls, and especially up in the Northeast where things are very, very tight. Access is limited. They love the small, compact unit. And just to add one last thing, that we do actually hold a patent on that unit, and we are patent pending on another unit. So lots of slides. I think they're rolling through, so I can talk for the next 3 hours if you wanted me to. But thank you very much, guys. I'm sorry? Just east of here. So it's right behind Knife River. Greenwood. Yep. I'm from Bend, sorry. It's over yonder.
We do have time for questions.
Yeah.
Questions,
Yeah.
please.
We do not build bridges.
Do you always have to send operators, or it can be rented and operated by
Yeah,
staff?
great question. That was one of the key identifiers when we were looking at creating the rental company. A lot of people will just send them out operated, they actually mandate it. So that really limits the use of the machine. Now you have traveling employees again, which makes it more difficult. So when we went into design for these units, we wanted to make them simple, easy to use, still under all ANSI standards, but get them out into the industry, get them out strategically, geographically, and let them go without an operator. Yep. Yes.
Hopefully not.
So how many employees do you currently have, and how many more will you be adding based on the expansion with the new building?
Yeah, so right now we operate with 18 employees, and I would say probably after the first year and a half, 2 years, we'll have probably double that amount. So we're thinking about adding 15 to 20 employees. Got more pictures.
What else?
That might be the last picture.
What's
All right.
the weight of one of these units?
So the type 1 right there is 8,200 pounds. And the type 2, believe it or not, let me get back. There we go. That one actually is 7,500 pounds. And that was very strategic as well because it puts you under a CDL requirement, which is another hurdle for operators, contractors. Now you need a CDL driver just to, access a bridge. That one you don't.
So,
Nope.
good to see you, Jeremy. So tell me
Good,
about
John.
what this infrastructure bill does for you.
Yeah.
Is there some anticipation for some funds rolling your way through
Yes.
bridge repair and so forth in the United States?
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't quite seen it yet, but we are starting to see the jobs come out. What the biggest impact we'll see right away will be for the rural broadband money, the set aside. So President Obama rolled out the rural broadband expansion, and we saw a lot of work from that. And we're starting to see that again. Another key aspect, you'll see a lot of the DOTs, Department of Transportations, they're going to get funding to update their ITS systems, which is your intelligent transportation systems, all your message boards and weigh scales, because they're all out of date. So you're going to see a lot of infrastructure work from that. And that's just the telecommunications side. Yeah.
So you've been located in Bend for quite a while.
What?
Why move to Redmond?
Yeah, Redmond was an easy choice. We knew we had to move. Bend did not offer what we were looking for. No fault of their own, but we're all Redmonds right here, right? So we can kind of. It was, for us, it was really land. And that's what REDI, did a fantastic job. City of Redmond did a fantastic job giving us, again, an opportunity to kind of pick and choose what really felt right. When you're looking at an expansion, you're looking at a move to what we're doing, you have to look into that crystal ball, right? And go, all right, what are we going to look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now? And, we're not making any more land. And so it was, again, a really, really easy choice. Redmond houses a majority of our vendors. We want to stay with our core competencies of what we do really well, but we want to partner with, the local companies and have them do what they do very, very well.
After you move in 2023, when do you think you'll do your first edition?
Well, SunWest. Probably on the East Coast. So, Steve, if you don't want to, maybe get over the East. Yeah, it is a long ways. Yeah.
Smoky Mountains are really pretty this time of year.
That's right. That's right.
Other questions?
Nope.
Jeremy, thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Give a hand to Jeremy. Ooh, the tall thing. Let's see if I can figure this out. Anybody sing two? Tippy toes, I don't see your tip. No? Come on. I have 3 kids, okay? Runs through my head. That's what I think of when I got tippy toes. There's your comic relief for the night. You're welcome. So, REDI has a lot of impact on all of our lives. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. We'd be sitting on the couch watching Wednesday Night Football is not in existence right now, but we'd be doing something else. So one, thank you for you all being here. That means a lot. Thank you to you all, our title sponsors and our sponsors. Thank you to our investors, because without our investors, REDI would not be able to do the things that we have done in the past, and we would not be able to have a pipeline of almost 4,000 jobs potentially coming to Redmond. It's good work, okay? So our next speaker I want to bring up is going to ask you something, okay? He's going to ask you something. And I'm an investor in REDI as well, as many of you in this room are. So I put my money where my mouth is. I believe in REDI. I financially commit to REDI. So next I'm going to invite up Michael Bishop with our Investor Relations Chair. He's going to talk to you a little bit about why you should support REDI. Michael.
Thanks, Chris. Again, I'm Michael Bishop, and I have also put my money where my mouth is. I became a REDI investor 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm lucky enough to sit on the board now and help give back to all the hard work of Steve and Mary and John. We're very thankful for this group and what we've done for Redmond. So the mission of REDI is to build prosperity through business and community development, right? And that's what we're talking about today with Bridge Masters. Jeremy, thank you for the story. But I'll be honest, I think as an organization, we're pretty humble, right? You might see us in the news. You might hear REDI had a hand in this project or that project. But we're not in your face about what we're doing. We kind of like to be behind the scenes, right? We want to help companies like Bridge Masters or Wild Ride get their business up and going and move them in. I took some notes, and I was talking to Steve earlier today. In the last 6 years, there's been 40 completed projects that REDI had something to do with, right? 917 jobs, $80 million in capital investments. And what gets me excited and gets our board excited is the projects in the pipeline. I'm going to reiterate what Steve said. In the pipeline today, 4,000 potential future jobs. $578 million in potential capital investment. You kidding me? This is Redmond, Oregon. It's awesome. This is our town. So my ask to you, if some of the stories you've heard about today, or if you know past projects we've had something to do with, we are supported by about 100 businesses and sponsors like you guys. I know most of you guys here already contribute to us, and we're very thankful for that. But 40% of our budget is from you and allows us to do the work behind the scenes to bring quality companies here to town, help current companies expand, create more jobs for our town. So my ask to you is if you're not a REDI investor or supporter already, I strongly ask you to consider to use your hard-earned dollars and become an investor today, right? This is how we make this community better for us, future generations, how we insulate our economy from ups and downs like we're seeing today. So thank you all for attending today. Appreciate the support. And if you're not an investor today, talk to a board member. We'll tell you more about it, but would love your support. So thank you.
Thanks, Michael. So, for those of you who are tech savvy, you could take out your phones and take a picture of that. You don't even have to take a picture, but when you take out your phones and hold it up there, it'll actually pop up a REDIinfo.com link. You don't have to go through that right now. We're not going to put you on the spot that much. But spend some time. See if it fits. See if it fits your culture. See if Redmond is a place that you want to continue to see develop and grow and prosper. I have 3 kids, as I just mentioned earlier. I want to make sure Redmond's my home for them, and they have the opportunity. Thank you all again on that. Couple fun things. I think we have some swag. I don't know where it is. I think it's way in the back there. I'm looking over in that corner. But we have some giveaways. I think, yes. This is where you dig in your raffle or your pocket for these little raffle tickets. Give it to me. If you don't want it, I'll take it. You were all entered as you walked in the door. Make sure you know where it is. We got a couple giveaways, but before we get to the giveaway, Matt, if I could have the next slide. Hey, if you like this, if you like News and Brews, you like what REDI's doing, make sure you know what EDCO's doing as well. We've got the Central Oregon Pub Talk coming up at Silver Moon Brewery November 17th. Great event, a lot of information, what's going on in the greater Central Oregon community. We'll have our investor social in January. We want to thank our investors. We want to make sure that you are updated on what's changed from now till then, which I'm sure it will be a lot. We have our EDCO annual luncheon coming up in February, location and time to BDT. So, back to the drawing. Oh, I can't pick it. Amber, go ahead. Just make sure you read 113. It's the wrong number. It's the wrong number. Who has it? Who's got it? Must be present to win. Oh. 106. Does anybody have 106? This is an express employment basket full of wine. Hydro Flask. Is anybody? 106, going once, going twice. 153. 153. Last three digits. There you go. We got a winner. Chris, you got any more wine? We'll take some more wine. Just crack a bottle later. Sweet. Who's this? Okay. Our next giveaway is a swag basket from Wild Ride. Finest beer in town. Let's go ahead and pick another raffle. 146. Still the wrong number, Amber. 146. Bueller. 146. All right. Going once, going twice, gone. 198. Oh, we got a winner. And her beer's empty. Fill that up. There you go. I think we got one or two more. 113. We have a SunWest Builders Yeti. These things are so nice. Okay, Amber, make it happen. 170. Somebody, way in the back. There. Mr. Neary. We have Vanna White coming down with the next basket. I have to, Marty. Okay, we have our Summit Bank basket presented by the shortest guy in the room, Mr. Marty. What do you got, buddy? Last three, 125. That is a lot of swag. Hey, I want to thank you all for your attendance, your participation. Thank you to our sponsors. Jeremy, thank you. Appreciate that story. You're not lucky. I think you've done hard work. It's rewarded. We want you guys to stay socialized. We got the room for the night. We'll look forward to seeing you either at Edco's event Pub Talk at November 17th and our investor social here in January. Thank you all. Have a great night.